Hi, this is Greg from On-Site Storage Solutions. Today we're going to discuss what you need to do when your container arrives and the doors don't operate like you'd like them to. We're going to show you a new one-trip container. This is a new 40-foot high cube. The doors are hard to close, and it's not due to some manufacturing defect. It's actually just the way the container sits. Now, when a container arrives, we suggest that it be put on a level surface. To start with, you need a good solid foundation. And in this case, we suggest railroad ties if you're putting it on a dirt surface. And again, that's what we've got it sitting on right now. But our issue is that the doors and what we call the keeper and the cam aren't lining up properly. The door's out of whack a little bit. And I'm gonna show you how you can look for that. And so you understand, oh, there's a problem and I need to adjust the doors. This is normal process, but this is something that the customer has to handle, because most of the time there's no issues, but probably about 20% of the time you want to tweak it just a little bit here and there. So in this case, when I close this door, it's a little stiff. It's kind of like buckling. I can feel it kind of torqued, right? And when I try and look here at the cam versus the keeper, this is where you kind of determine. It's down. This door is low. This should be more centered. It should be up a little bit. These things are, this cam is below the keeper a little bit. As a result, it's hitting in the wrong spot. So it's not hitting right. So I need to get this door to come up. Most of the time, you're gonna do it from the front, right? You're gonna lift one door if this is the low door. So in this case, this door is low, but I can tell there's a torque going on because of the way it's kind of buckling and it's kind of bouncing off. It's actually has a low corner in the back that's actually torquing that box in such a way that it's affecting this door. So I actually need to approach this fix from the back. So again, when you have a problem, you have to determine where you're going to shim it from. In other words, where you're going to lift it. Now, here's an example of a container that we've already shimmed. Here's the container, and here's the shim. It's sitting here, but you can see what happened is that the railroad tie, it settled on us. So what we ended up having to do is shim it to get it to be even. Here's an example of a door where the cam, this is the cam, and the keeper are centered. So watch this come in. It comes in like this, and look, it's perfectly centered, right where it should be. It wants to close perfectly. So now what we're gonna go do is we're gonna go shim this container from the rear, and we're gonna adjust it. And this should bring this door up and make this door much easier to close. So we're headed to the back. Okay, we're at the rear of the container now. So when you look at this container, you've got your railroad ties, they look pretty level, but I can tell already that the one on the right isn't fully, the weight is not balanced on that container. I can just by looking at it, I can see that it's not supporting it right. Even though it looks level and everything, it's not. Here's how I can tell. This is the railroad tie. Should be sitting on that, should be weighted, right? Woo, look at that. The thing's freestanding. So what's happening now is it's torquing and it's making that door in the front hard to open. We're gonna adjust this by doing a couple of things. First of all, we've got some tools here that allow us to raise this container so that we can put a shim on it and get it so that there's support here and that it affects that thing. But we're also gonna improve the base with which the railroad tie is sitting. You're gonna need a bottle jack or something similar. We have a jig that we sell. Right? It's a container lifting jig. It makes things really easy. It's inexpensive, comes in very handy. Basically, it goes in the corner housing like this, and then like this, and allows us to put the bottle jack right there and lift it up. We need a good foundation. When you're using a jack like this is a very heavy item, close to 9,000 pounds, and you want a good foundation for this jack. So we recommend wood on a surface like this. Container lifting jig, and then we've got our jack here. So what we do is we center this jack to where this is, and this should be in line with this. And this comes around. And then we make sure this is to the back. Now we're just about ready. So what we're going to do is we're going to lift this up. That'll give us a little bit more travel here. I'm gonna push more dirt underneath here to bring this up. All right, now let's just check the height. And from what it's showing me is this needs to come up just a little bit because this is a little too far down still. So we're just gonna repeat the process. We'll put a little bit more dirt. And if we want to speed up, we can just add a shim and then we'll be done. So success. Door operates like it should. Lines up like we said it needed to. As you can see here, this is centered. Now we're able to push it in and lock it up. Now you're set to go. So if you do need to adjust your doors, we highly recommend that you get the container lifting jig that we have. It's very heavy duty, super thick, easy, much safer, makes the process much easier as we've shown in the video. Let me show you again. It attaches to the corner casting. Goes in like that, and then you place your bottle jack right there, and you're good to go. You don't have to dig it out so you can fit your stuff in there, a bigger jack. This is just a much simpler process, much safer. So again, we highly recommend getting this. Give us a call. We do have them in stock, and we can get it to you pretty quickly. That's our recommendation to you.